So this week, May Day, International Workers' Day, was also a strike of a bunch of companies, including Amazon and Instacart and Whole Foods, who are asking for better protections for the workers. And so I wanted to give a shout out today to all of those people who did the walkout. They want and deserve better protection. They're also out there bringing us all the things that we need day to day to do this shelter in place. And so my husband works at Amazon, and I'm particularly grateful for everything that he does, and I know that it's in no way easy, so that's what's on my mind. All right, so this is the second one, and this one I'm gonna then put a what am I gonna do? Am I gonna do nuts and fruit or nuts and chocolate? Nuts and fruit or nuts and chocolate? Chocolate? All right, my family has voted chocolate. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be a chocolate walnut roll. Still a little bit wet. What is that game where they roll over things? It starts out, you're like an atom, and you roll around and you find other atoms to stick to, and you become a molecule, and then you become a cell, and then you become a multicellular organism. And you go through like a time when pencils are just impossibly huge, you know, unimaginable universes beyond, and then you can absorb anything smaller than you, so you have to pick up a bunch of smaller objects until you get bigger and you can absorb more things, and you end the game like absorbing planets, I think, or something. Anyway, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Video game?
This is a video game.
I don't know. At first I thought it was going to be Red Rover.
What's Red Rover?
It's like you and your physical body as a kid, you have to run and smash into all your other friends.
Oh, like Red Rover, let
Let so-and-so
So-
come over.
so-and-so
you
come
have to
over.
just like bash into the wall of other children.
Wow.
That game I know.
I never played, I knew the Red Rover, let Jesse come over, but I never actually played the Red Rover game, so I didn't know what was involved, but that sounds,
Yeah, it's just like
sounds like my kind of
standing
game.
in a field and just hurting each other.
Alright, this one, where's the olive oil? Here we go. Okay. So this is going to be the chocolate walnut rolls. And there was joy. There was much rejoicing. In you go. Alright, so all this is now going to rise for a couple hours. And I'm going to take a flat scraper. I'm going to scrape this off so it doesn't turn into goo. I'm going to clean it. I'm going to dust off the spices here. Try to return things to a state of less chaos. And then we will continue. To recap, we have now 3 doughs. We have a sourdough bread. We have a sweet bread that is going to turn into chocolate walnut rolls, and a sweet bread that is going to turn into cinnamon rolls. So the very first up to bat is we'll do the sourdough loaf first, because the cinnamon roll loaf and the chocolate walnut roll are going to leave debris here. So with my trusty bowl of flour and my trusty olive oil, I'm gonna just remake that whole mess that I just cleaned up. And there's our dough, beautifully stretchy. Look at all those nice holes that you can see there from where it rose in such a lovely way. Out it comes. Back it goes. Now, over on this side. Gabriel's putting away dishes, so. So I can't be on the side where the camera can see me, but that's just how it is.
You can see.
So in essence, what we'll have is a video of Gabriel putting away dishes and some bread. Sourdough came together in about 4 seconds beautifully. It's nice, it's elastic, it's everything I've ever wanted in the way of sourdough bread dough lump, which is saying a lot. I'm going to take an ordinary knife and I'm going to cut this ball of dough in half to make 2 sourdough breads. 1 Frankel Mike. So it's going to be 2 little bowls.
What did you just call it?
A boule.
It sounds like the ghost word and also what ghosts say. Like
Like
ghouls
boo?
and boo.
No. Yeah, it's the French word boule, like a ball,
Oh.
like a French boule. Here we have these 2 bowls. At the moment I'm going to put them on the back of the stove where the soup is cooking so that they will rise in the warm, steamy soup cooking heat. Plain cinnamon rolls. So this is the dough for that. Turn it out here into this floured area. That also has risen up nicely. You're getting to see that beautiful stretch in those holes there from the good rise. So everything is going well. At some point we'll have one of these and things will not have gone well. And then we can do troubleshooting, but fortunately or unfortunately, this is not that time.
What normally goes unwell? If something goes unwell?
Well, if it's rising too slowly and you're in a hurry, you have to then decide, like, am I going to do something to boost the speed of the rise, or am I going to just have this be something that happens later? Because yeast very much depends on the temperature in the room, the humidity, and then also, like, how much sugar is in the dough. Like, I don't add any sugar to the dough to make it rise, but you can add a couple pinches of sugar, or if you're using something that has natural sugars in it, like milk, the lactose will interact with the yeast. Yes. And yeast will start to eat the lactose, so that can also speed it up. So there are things you can do to speed it up. You can also just add a pinch of like active yeast, or another thing you can do, like with a sourdough bread, if I needed to hurry up a sourdough bread, you could take some like self-rising cornmeal and knead it in, and then the bicarbonate of soda, baking powder interaction of the cornbread also lifts it, so that can.
Like, what is the difference between having something rise with yeast or just adding like baking powder and baking soda into the thing?
Yep. So the difference between having something rise with just yeast and having it rise with baking soda. So yeast is fermenting sugars, and as the sugars ferment, it releases a gas, and that gas is basically blowing bubbles in the dough. And with baking soda, it's a chemical reaction that's an acid-base chemical reaction that causes it to foam up. And so cream of tartar plus baking soda is what baking powder is, and cream of tartar, once it's wet, starts to interact with the baking soda, and that makes it pop up. And
Is it just that like cream of tartar is acidic but not as...
it's acidic, but they're not, the acid base isn't combining until it's wet.
Okay.
So it's,
Oh, so it's like, that's why when you're like, I'm mixing and doing the thing, but then
Right.
as soon as you add the other stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got you.
exactly. So that's why you mix the dry ingredients and then the wet ingredients and then you bake.
Right. And that whole thing about like when you're about to make a cake, you don't want to like mush it too much or wait too long or...
Right. Yeah, so you don't want to overbeat the cake because of the opposite thing of the gluten, right? Because you want the cake to crumb so that when you cut through it with a fork, the fork has to use pressure to cut through, but you're not having to tug it through. But you couldn't
Right.
cut a loaf of bread with a fork that way, even
Right.
though they're both basically made of flour. Because in a cake, you've worked up the gluten as little as possible,
And bread is
and bread
all
is
about
as much as possible.
yeah.
It's all about it. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to drizzle it with olive oil, and it looks like a sideways roll is going to be fine. So, alright. It's not going to be a lot of olive oil. It's just going to be enough. I'm a big fan of butter. I love using butter in things like if I were going to make a frosting or an icing, because you can really taste it. But here, the fat is mostly just making a puff layer around where the cinnamon and sugar are, so you're not really tasting the fat per se. Come around this side, I'm going to re-roll it. And I'm pulling it out this way so that we have a few more cinnamon rolls when I cut it. Alright. Because that's going to give you the classic cinnamon roll looking thing. I'm going to cut it down the middle so you can see it. And there it is. Here. Hello, Gabrielle. Hello.
Nasty.
It's a cinnamon roll. It's going to be delicious. You're going to love it. Well, class, I like the way Gabrielle is emptying the trash. I wish everyone could be like Gabrielle and empty the trash.
Do I get a gold star?
You get a gold star.
Do I get to graduate?
You get to graduate
Yay.
college.
Thank God.
Alright, here we go. I'm stacking these into a pan, and I should be leaving more space between them because they're going to rise up quite a bit, but I'm going to go to the pan that I already chose, and they'll just get taller as they get wider. Okay, so here you have the cinnamon rolls rolled up, ready to go in the oven. I'm going to put those on the back of the stove where the soup is sizzling. Right. I'm going to take the rest of all of this almond mealy mixture and I'm going to unceremoniously dump it onto the bread. Perfect once it's all done. Awesome. Bring it on. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. This is ceremonious stuff. Ah, no! Save the chocolate! Is that good? Yep, that's good. Now. Second, just in case the dog's yes. If I were a professional baking show person, I would have taken out all of these pans and put parchment on them well in advance. But I didn't. And that's how it's gonna be. Okay, so we have this dough. It's full of ground walnuts and chocolate. And I'm going to take the knife and I'm going to slice into the top. Just open up that part. And now this also is going to go hang out next to the soup. I'm going to clean this.
turn the season, kings may fade away. The sun takes its sacred journey each and every day. Time passes by like a slow train in the night. Whistle stop, blow, puff a smoke and your mind. Lady air and the leaves so green, goddess of the moon. Midnight garden dancer, won't you come and be my muse? Time passes by like a slow train in the night. Whistle stop, blow, puff a smoke and your mind. Time passes by like a slow train in the night. Yeah. Whistle stop, blow, puff a smoke and your mind. Time passes by like a slow train in the night.